senior Russia correspondent Dana Lewis, who joins us now from London. Dana, what kind of reaction might we expect to see from Russia to this call from Stoltenberg for Russia to withdraw from Ukrainian territory?
Well, you know, it hasn't worked so far, and obviously the pressure points are coming from a lot of different areas. I think from the Biden administration, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs talked to his counterpart in Russia. The European Union is being asked by Ukraine and also by the United States, particularly France and Germany, to try and open dialogue with Russia and try to get Russian forces back from the border. And, you know, Rachel, you can absolutely see the more people I talk to, the more ideas there are in terms of what is Russia really going to do there. Are they going to try to invade eastern Ukraine? Are they going to try to expand territory in Ukraine to Odessa? Are they going to push north and try and grab a canal where there is a water shortage, bringing water to the Crimea, or not bringing water to the Crimea right now? So there is a very big gap in terms of who does what next, and big fears about what Russia intends to do. Some people say that they're just holding a military exercise to counter some of the things that President Zelensky has been doing in Ukraine, and others think that they really have designs to push farther into the Ukraine territory.
Yeah, there's a lot of concern and not really knowing about what Russia's motives are here in amassing troops on the border. What could a potential military conflict between Russia and Ukraine look like?
Well, look, the reason why there's so much doubt is because Russia's not cooperating with anybody, and they're not coming clean, and they're not informing people about their military exercises, and they're not being transparent. And that is the first thing that the Kremlin can do. What would a military conflict look like? We've already seen it. I mean, the Russians into Crimea, and have no doubt that there are dozens and dozens of documented cases of Russia supplying troops in eastern Ukraine, supplying armor, and in fact, supplying command and control. A lot of the commanders there come from Russia. The Ukraine army is not what it was in 2014. They have been upgraded. They train jointly with NATO countries, with the United States, which is in there right now in western Ukraine. They have Javelin missiles, which are some of the best anti-tank missiles in the world now. They have counter-fire radar, so they can see the source of artillery and other things that are being launched at them in Ukraine from the Donbass region. But altogether, when you add up their Navy, their Air Force, and even an effective ground force, I mean, they're simply not a match for Russian forces if Putin really wants to put a lot of muscle into eastern Ukraine.
It's really concerning, and you say that efforts to get Russia to stand down haven't worked so far, and they're just simply not cooperating. Russia has also told NATO not to send troops to its border. Does Russia have the upper hand in this confrontation? Because it seems like anything NATO or the West does could only further increase tensions.
Well, I mean, I think they have the upper hand in terms of causing chaos in eastern Ukraine and keeping Ukraine off balance. But long term, where does it go? And the more they put Ukraine under pressure, the larger the calls, and you've been hearing them and you've been reporting on them, Rachel, about that the only way to solve this is by joining NATO. And NATO made a commitment to Ukraine back in 2008 that they would one day accept them and Georgia into the NATO alliance. And I think the more that President Putin pushes here, is he going to push NATO, or is this going to backfire? And is this going to increase fast-tracking Ukraine into NATO membership as the only way to protect Ukraine, as we've seen in other countries like Poland, the Baltics, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia?
All right. We'll leave it there. Thanks for the insight, Dana Lewis in London.